Hello, good morning, team. My name is Aseem. Welcome back to Cloud Aseem YouTube channel. In this episode, we are going to do one project. Basically, it's a Java based application where we are going to integrate Jenkins and Tomcat web server in order to deploy our application into Tomcat server, right? So here in this Java build application for in order to build this application, we are going to use Maven as a build tool. Okay, and we are going to integrate Maven and Java integration in Jenkins system. We are going to pull the code from the GitHub repository, right? The Jenkins will pull the code from the GitHub repository. Then afterward, we will use the command to package our application using Maven. Then afterward, we are going to deploy and into Tomcat server. Basically, we are using Tomcat as a Docker container where we are going to deploy, right? Here, as I mentioned, that I'm going to deploy as a Docker container. Okay, so what are the simple flow? If you check over down, you're going to find that these are the developer will push the code into GitHub. Then we are going to set up one CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins. So basics of Jenkins are not very clear, right? Jenkins is a CI/CD tool, but if you don't have a clear overview how you're going to use Jenkins in the process of automation, continuous integration, continuous deployment, if you have hustle about that, you no need to worry. You need to come to my channel where I'm running this Jenkins Zero to Hero series where I have covered everything from the scratch. If you're this is videos are beginner friendly to pro, right? So you're going to find all this one. This is a continue of this series. So the prerequisite of this project is that you need to have hands-on on Jenkins, you need to have hands-on on Linux and the cloud computing, that is AWS cloud provider, right? So AWS services, you should be hands-on knowledge on this. So if you have a hustle about that as well, please come to my channel where I have one AWS services in one shot. Then I have covered Linux also in one shot where you can check my channel as well. Okay, so you'll find everything like Linux Zero to Hero, that is in one shot. You can have expertise to that. Okay, don't worry about the pricing as well. I have covered the video. I'll be tagging that link as well for this project. So whatever the charges is applicable after this project, that will be waived off from AWS. Okay, so let's go back over to the over to our project. Then let's overview over this and we will start setting up. Okay, so the point is that where is our source code of this application? So that is reside in our GitHub repository. So this is a GitHub repository, that is Aseem 19 with the name of Java Maven application. So let us check the overview of this. You're going to find that this there is a one script directory where I have written the script related to deployment of Docker Jenkins, where we are going to use this shell script in order to configure these tools. Okay, then later on the dependencies of this application, source, main and web, this is related to our application where I have index.java file where I have some text over here. This will be deployed after configuring our application. Okay, so later on we have a Maven, right, and pom.xml file. Pom.xml file is a basic where you mention the dependency of this application. Okay, and I have a Docker file in order to create the Docker image. Then I have a Jenkins file which you're going to receive as a updated when this project will be live. Okay, so moving towards again over here, right, we are going to see what the differences of this, right? So the basically developer has written the code, the Java code, and he defines the dependency in pom.xml file, which I have shown you, right? So this is a pom.xml file. Okay, then later on using Maven, I will build Maven. I will read this pom.xml file and I will download our application. Using Maven, Maven will read POM XML file and download necessary libraries, and it will compile the code and package into .war file. Okay, so you're going to receive one .war file as your compiled code, right, package application. Okay, so then later on we will be deploying this war file into Tomcat server. You got my point? So in the real use case, what we are going to use in the project, we will use Maven to build .war file from our Java code. And we will be using Jenkins in order to create the CI/CD pipeline, and we will set up the Docker as a tool, and we are going to integrate the credentials of Docker Hub, and we will create a Docker image container and push the image into Docker Hub. Okay, these are the stages. So we are going to integrate Docker as well into our Jenkins server. Okay, and we are going to deploy Tomcat as a Docker container. Okay, so these all the steps which we are going to use. Later on, we are going to add the build step post build action in order to receive the email alerts in case of our pipeline gets success, failure, or aborted. Okay. So these are the theoretical way. So you can go with this. I'm going to give you this document as well. Simple document. Okay. So the flow which I'm going to use it, I'm going to build, test, and deploy our application into Tomcat web server. Okay. So before heading towards that, we required one EC2 install in order to configure this everything. Okay. So for that use case, we will be switched back to AWS and we will request AWS to create one EC2 instance. Okay. So I'm going to click on this launch instance. If you don't have AWS account, you can create free setup AWS account with using your card, debit card or credit card, and you can get 1 year free subscriptions. Okay. So here I'm going to give it as a Maven project. Okay. Then I'm going to go with Ubuntu operating system image. Then here I'm going to go with T2 large, right? And the key pair, I'm going to create new key pair with the same name as, let's say, Maven project. Okay. Then I'm going to click on this create pair. Then I'm going to review over here Ubuntu T2 large volume 8 GB. Instead of 8 GB, I'm going to give it 10 GB over here. Launch instance, right? So we are requesting to launch one EC2 instance and we are going to access this now. So this is the one, and I'm going to copy the public IP and I'm going to go into mobile extreme, that is a SSH client for the Windows. If you are using Mac, you can just copy the path of your EC2 instance and paste it inside your terminal in order to access this virtual machine. Okay, I need to give it a key over here. The key will be stored on my downloaded folder. I'm going to click on this over here. So it will state that authentication, it will authenticate my keys and the pipeline IP and the username which I'm passing through this mobile extreme client app. Okay, so it has validated and it given me the access now. So first I'm going to switch into sudo apt, right? I'm going to switch into root user. Then the pre-request of our application for our project, we need to install Jenkins on our application, right, on our EC2 instance. So for that, I'm going to take a help of, as I mentioned that, I'm going to take the help of scripts. Okay. So for that, I'm going to open one Jenkins script. So I'm going to copy the code over here and I'm going to back here and I'm going to create one shell script. Okay. So I'm going to give it the name of jenkins.sh. Then I'm going to paste it over here and control X, Y to go outside. Then I'm going to add executable permission in order to execute this file. Okay, Jenkins. If I LL over here, you have to find now Jenkins in green color. That means it can be executed now. So I'll be using sh command in order to execute this Jenkins. Okay. So in the previous videos, like in the episode 3, I've demonstrated you how to install Jenkins using official website of Jenkins, right? So to minimize the time, I'm using now another way of installing Jenkins using shell script. If you're active on my channel, you will be finding that in the projects I'm using shell script. Shell script is basically where you need to specify multiple command sequence in order to execute that commands using as a code, right? So I'm going to specify the steps. So whenever you're going to execute the shell script, so sequence of the code will be executed. Okay. And then the next I need to create one more shell script. Okay. So that either you can clone this as well or you can copy and create in your local machine, that is your EC2 instance. Okay. So here I'm going to install create the package, install docker.io, the latest version of Docker. Docker is a containerization tool, right? Then afterwards, I'm going to add Ubuntu and Jenkins user. Ubuntu user by default, when I'm going to configure, I have configured this EC2 instance Ubuntu operating system. Ubuntu user by default is created. When I'm installing now Jenkins user will be created. These two users I'm going to add into Docker group. Okay. So Docker group by default, when I'm going to install docker.io, so it will install Docker, it will create Docker group. Okay. So I'm adding this two to have the permission of Docker, complete permission to Ubuntu user and Jenkins user. After that, I'm going to refresh the Docker group in order to apply these changes which I have done above. Okay. Then afterward, I'm giving socket docker.socket a permission to execute it. Then I'm going to restart this. Okay. So this I'm going to create one more shell script over here. Nano docker.sh, hit enter. Then I'm going to paste it, the shell script, control X, Y, and exit. So now I'm going to give it executor permissions X, and I'm going to give it for Docker. Hit enter. Now I'm going to execute this Docker, right? Docker shell script. So as a given this over here steps, this all commands will be executed in the sequence way. Okay. That's fine. Now this one is completed. I'm going to check it the Docker version. So it's printing me Docker version is successful. So do I have any Docker images? So I don't have, because just now I have created installed Docker. So I have not created any Docker images, neither any Docker container. Okay. So there is nothing. So now if I want to validate, because I have installed Jenkins as well, right? So let us check Jenkins status using systemctl refer for control. Okay. Stating that the Jenkins is active and running. Okay. So let me go over here in the launch instance. Here I'm going to go for security group, and then I'm going to enable the security group of this EC2 instance. Okay. So here I need to check what are the ports enabled. So I remember that I have opened only SSH port. So I'm going to go for Edinburgh rule. Here I'm going to add rules over here of 8080. This is for Jenkins. Then later on I'm going to add for 9000 for Tomcat, because Tomcat by default runs on 8080. So I cannot run two different servers on one port number. Okay. So I will be changing this port number of Tomcat. Okay. Don't worry about this. I will give you that as well. Okay. Tomcat server. This is for Jenkins. Then later on I'm going to integrate, as I say that I'm going to use 587, and then afterwards I'm going to go with for what was our SMTPS. Okay, 465. This is for emails. Okay, both are for emails, and this I'm going to open for everyone. Okay, and I'm going to save it. So the inbound rules, I have added some rules which I have enabled for this EC2 instance. Now I'm going to copy this, then I'm going to go for EC2 instance, and I'm going to copy and I'm going to access 8080. So this request will hit my virtual machine EC2 instance, and it's saying that in order to proceed you need to give this password. So I'm going to copy this, go into my EC2 instance again, control C, and I'm going to use cat command in order to view. Okay, cat command is used to view the file. Okay, so I'm giving the path of this file. So I'm going to receive one token, basically it's a password. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, then I'm going to continue. Now you're able to find that Jenkins is suggesting by default to install that like commonly used plugins. So I will install plugins as I explained in the series. Plugins are additional in order to connect multiple tools with a Jenkins. Okay, so all will be connected to plugins like and email extension. This we are going to use in this project as well. So the plugin has been installed. Now it's asking me to configure this one, right? So I'll be using to configure this, right? You can just note down whatever you're giving, user and password, right? So admin, okay, save and continue. So we are into the UI of our Jenkins server, right? So let's start using Jenkins server. Now this part we already discussed completely about the Jenkins UI and everything in the previous sessions. Okay. So if you have missed out, please go and watch our Jenkins series. We have discussed every aspect related to that. Okay. So as per our project workflow, what we have done is that we have configured the Jenkins. We have installed the Docker, right? Docker tool on our virtual machine, right? So the GitHub repository already we have our code reside over here. So what we need to create one CI/CD pipeline in order to build our application using Maven, right? So for that we need to configure Maven in our Jenkins. Okay. So let me go to the Jenkins server, and in the Jenkins server I need to go into the manage Jenkins. Then in the tools, I need to go over here. I need to find Maven over here, right? So you're able to find the Maven is here, right? So I need to install this tool. So I'm going to use Maven as Maven 3. Okay. Just I'm giving a random name. You can give it any name, but in the Jenkins pipeline, you need to you call this Maven with using the same name of this, okay, what we have given. So this Maven 3, and let me update the file as well. So it's also Maven 3, that's fine. So I'm installing using Apache, so it's provided by Apache. Okay, so it's also open source tool. Maven tool is used to build the Java projects. Okay, so your version I'm going to keep it the same. Apply and save. Okay, so this is related to configuring the tool. Now what we require is that we need to install some plugin additionally. Okay, so I need to go into the plugin, then I need to go with available plugin, then I need to install Docker plugins. As I mentioned that from the pipeline I need to trigger the Docker file, and I need to create the Docker image. Then later on I'm going to create Docker container out of our Docker file. Okay, and I'm going to push that image of the creation to my Docker Hub account as well. So for that use case I need to install multiple plugins. You need to find that is getting installed. Okay, so meanwhile what we will do it, we will go over here into the manage Jenkins. Then you're going to find one credential option over here. Okay, and the credentials you need to add some credentials over here. Okay, so let me go to the credentials. First I'm going to add username and password. So I'm going to give it a username Aseem Akram. This is my username of what is for the Docker Hub. Okay, so I'm going to give it Docker Hub password. So I'm going to give it the password for my Docker account, right? Password is done. Then the ID I'm going to give it as Docker, because I'm going to call this credential using this ID. So this the ID is very important. You should remember this. Okay, Docker. I'm going to create this key password. Okay, so one is saved. The second I'm going to use for second option, right, which I'm going to use for SMTP. Later on we will show that part, don't worry about this. So one credential for Docker up, that is sufficient for now, and later on we will see it. Okay, so this is fine, credential is fine. So we have given a description as Java, right? And we will go back over here in the down. Then we will take the sample of the project, right? As we mentioned, and we will set up everything. If you check over here, stating, see, steps are there, Maven is there, everything is there, right? So for our use case, what we'll do it, we'll go over here and I'll go with scripted pipeline, or we'll take it hello world pipeline sample. Okay. So these are the first stage what we require, right? So we will use pipeline syntax as well to take it. So the first step what we require, we need to clean the workspace. So for that, I'm going to go with delete workspace when the build is done. So I'm going to click on this. It's printing me clean WS. So this is the code. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to paste it over here, right? And what is my first stage? So let's give the name of the stage. Stage, I'll say that clean workspace. Okay. So clean workspace. Okay. So one stage we already defined. The second stage, what should be there? We need to clone the code now, right? So for that use case, what we need to do it after this bracket, you can hit enter. Okay. And paste this stage. So this stage will be there, git clone. Okay. Or we can give it, let's say git clone, we can give it any name. So I'm giving git clone. Now what I need to do it, how I'm going to use it. So we can use pipeline syntax. You go for simple step over here, then you search for git, then it's asking me to give the repository of URL. In my case, I will give it my repository URL. If you have separate URL of your repository, when you have clone and push to your repository, then you should give your own URL, repository URL. Okay, I will give it over here. That's fine. If I click out over here, it's stating that it's public, don't require any credentials. Okay. So what is my branch name? My branch's name is main. So I need to give it main over here. Then I no need to give it credential because this is public repository. So I'm going to click on this. It's giving me the code of git clone stage. Okay. So I'm going to go over here. Then I'm going to delete this and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay. So this is how we are going to define two stages. Okay. So two stages has been done. The second stage, whenever I'm going to clone this code, I need to create the var file, right? As I mentioned in the workflow, what we are doing, we are going to create one var file using Maven. So Maven already there, right? So for that use case, what I need to do it, I need to define one more stage. Okay. So let me copy this, hit enter, and I'm going to paste the stage one. Here I'm going to say that I'm going to build var file using Maven. Okay. Maven, Maven var, var file build, right? Build file. So the command is simple. You can use over here sh. So if you're executing any shell command, so you need to give it sh. Okay. So here I need to give it over here. Then the command to package, I need to use mv1 clean package. Okay. So this is a command. With this, I'm going to package my Java application in the form of .wire file. Okay. So how you're going to use sh? This also is there. If I'm going to go for here, right? C shell script. So here I need to give the command, as I mentioned, that mvn clean package, hit enter. So it's giving me the code over here, right? Same code I have given here as well, right? So I will overwrite. Okay, just not to give it confused. So see, it's overwrite. So what happened, I have given the stage. Now the point is that I have using Maven over here, but did I install Maven on my virtual machine? No. But what I have done, I have configured as a tool in the Jenkins, right? If you remember, I have configured as a tool in the Jenkins. So let me view as well for you. Manage Jenkins and the tool, right? Instead of installing on my virtual machine, what I've done, I am configured Maven as a tool, okay, in the tool session. So for that use case, what I need to do it, I need to define this above, okay. In the above stages, I need to define one more as a tools. In the tools, I will be defining the names over here. So simply you need to do it tool, you need to open bracket, flower bracket, and hit enter. So one flower bracket will be closed. Okay. So here I need to give it the tool name Maven. And what are the name I have given? The name I have given as Maven 3. Okay. I can cross check over here as well. So if I'm going to hit enter, you're going to find this is name of Maven 3. So let's copy from this, go over here, and I'm going to paste it over here. So I'm defining that the name of Maven tool, the tool name is what? Maven. Okay. And the name I have given Maven 3. So I have defined, and the version by default I've keep it at 3.9.9. Okay. So that's common for me. Okay. Then the result, then we will add remaining stages as well. Okay. Like Docker images and everything. And I will apply and I will save it. And now what we will do it, we need to install one more plugin. By mistake, I missed out. You go to the manage Jenkins, then you go for plugins, then you go for available plugins, then stage view plugin, pipeline stage view plugin. This plugin you need to install. Okay, before it was installing as a default, but now you need to install as an optional. Okay, so you're able to find this, everything is done. Now what I'm going to do it, I'm going to restart to apply this all changes, right, of the plugins. So it will install my Jenkins server. You're able to find Jenkins has been restarted and it's asking me the credentials. I will pass my credentials. I'm saying keep me signed in. I'm inside the Jenkins server now. So the pipeline is over here. So what I'm going to do it now, let me go to the configure and see whatever steps I've written, right? It's valid. Okay, it's fine. J1134. Okay, let me go over here and let me build now to see the results of my pipeline. Okay, so it started declaring the tools. Okay, the tool which I have declared is Maven. Okay, so this is done successfully. It's clearing the workspace as well. So Maven we have declared, right? And we have used Jenkins. We have written one small stages CI/CD pipeline with the different stages. See, you're able to find that all the stages of 4 has been successfully done. So var file also has been created. Okay, so if I'm going to refresh this, you're able to find the status 1 is successful. So if I'm going to click on this and see the output, so if you check over here, the console output is stating that one workspace is created when I created this pipeline. So this is on my Jenkins server, right? So then afterward, it's saying that Maven 3 has been configured successfully. It had deleted the workspace. Then afterwards, it had started from the pom.xml file. It had installed the dependencies of this application, right? Then it had done everything. Then afterwards, let's check over here. It's supposed to create .var file. Okay, let me go down. Okay, so you will to find that Maven cloud aseem.app file has been created, right? Where in the path of which? In the path of this. Okay, so let me go and copy this path and let's set validate over here. CD, paste it and remove the last step because it's .var. It's not a directory. Okay, so let me go over here, hit enter. If you LL over here, you're going to find that one file has been created in the name of Maven Cloud Awesome .app file. That is what we have built our application using Maven. Okay. So this var file I need to copy into Tomcat server. So for that use case installing of Tomcat, we are using Docker in our use case. Okay. So simply as a Docker container, I'm going to copy this var file from my workspace to that point. Okay. So what I'm going to do it, I'm going over here to my Jenkins pipeline. I'm going to go for configure, and in the configure, I need to add multiple stages as well. So I'm going to hit over here. Then I'm going to go for copy and paste it over here. Okay. The next step, we will write it as create a Docker file. Okay. So for that use case, what I need to do it, I need to add Docker build. Okay. The stage name, I will say that Docker image and push to Docker Docker Hub. Sorry. So Docker Hub credentials already I have given in my Jenkins credentials, right? Jenkins. So now what I need to do it, I need to pass multiple of here, right? So for that, I need to give it the steps and we will use this as a pipeline syntax. And the pipeline syntax, what we need to do it, we need to add the script to push into Docker. Let us check over here. Do I have shell script, right? Because for the shell script, what I need to do, I need to add multiple stages, right? First, I need to write Docker build, Docker build hyphen T. Then let's give the name of Java Maven app, right? Java Maven app, okay, and I'm going to give it directory as dot, so that the code, whatever code and Docker file exists in the current workspace. So this is one command. Then afterwards I need to give it one more command. The command, it will say that I need to add the tag, because I need to push this into Docker hub, right? So for that I need to rename this Docker image, okay. So let me copy this, paste it with the name of my account. You need to give it your account, okay, account name Asim Akram. I know the name of my account. Then I will be giving the app name, okay, and the tag you can give it anything. So for currently I'll give it everything as latest, okay. Simply what I'm going to give it, I'm going to, after creation of this Docker image, I'm going to tag with this one with my account name, repository Docker hub account repository name, and the name of the file, okay. Image, the Docker image is Java Maven. The same I'm proceeding over here, right? So then afterwards I need one more step, need to add it over here. Then the stage is Docker push. When I'm tagged over here, then I'm going to push this image. So what is the image over here? Image will be Asim Akram latest, right? So this tag I have given, so this image I'm going to push it. So these three commands I need to execute in the stage of what? Docker build and Docker build and push to Docker. So when I'm executing over here, it's stating that these three are compiled, okay. So I'm going to copy this three, copy, and paste it over here, okay. Sorry, this need to be space. Just a second, I'm going to push over here. Docker image, okay, that's fine. Push this one. Now one more missing, that because I need to pass the credentials, right? So for to in order to pass the credentials, what we need to is that we need to add few stages over here. One more step, the step I need to add over here is that I need to pass over a script, okay. In the script I'm going to give it over here and hit enter. Then I need to specify the credentials which I'm going to use it in order to push this to Docker Hub. Okay. So I'm going to give it as Docker, then registry, then I need to give it credentials. Okay. So the credential, let us go with this. So you will be finding over here step I can go with Docker registry setup, Docker registry endpoint. Okay. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this, right? I'm copying with Docker credentials. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it over here, okay. Then afterwards I need to specify the tool as well, right? So here what I pass the credentials, right? Instead of credentials I'll be coming over here, then I'm going to give it one comma, right? After that I'm going to specify the tool name, right? So the tool name what I have configured over here as Docker, okay. So Docker is a tool name. Then I'm going to close this one more flower bracket over here, right? I need to remove over this. Then afterwards in the down, I will be adding one more forward bracket over here. Okay. So let me just give it the space. Docker over here, over here, right? And let's go to over here, right? So what happened? We added the stages like create. We have defined the Docker credential using Docker tool. Then I've added three more stages like creating the Docker image and tagging the image and pushing the Docker image to our GitHub repository, right? So these three stages have happened. So what I'm going to do, apply and save it. Okay. So one is missing. Let me just go over here one more time and check it. What is missing? Okay. So you're able to find that expected one more time. So let me just go over here. Let me see 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's fine. So I need to give it one more flower packet over here. Okay, so let me cross check. That's fine. So apply and save it. So if you check it over here, I have added different stages over here. The stages contains of creation of Docker image and pushing that Docker image to our GitHub repository. Sorry, Docker Hub repository, right? And we are using a tag just with the name of our account and tagging with the latest right tag over there. Okay, and then later on after building the Docker image, we are going to push that we're going to push that Docker image to our GitHub repository. So we'll go and we will review our flow diagram over here. If we check it over here, as I mentioned that we are going to create the Docker image, right? And we are going to create a Docker image and we are going to push to Docker. For that, the prerequisite we have to write one Docker file, right? If you check our diagram over here, is mentioned that one CI stage come with a Docker file. Okay, so in order to push our here we need to write one Docker file. So that also we will show you how to write from the scratch. Okay, so the flow contains that Docker file, right? As I mentioned, so from the CI/CD we will take the Docker file. The Docker file we will pass some multiple stages, right? With the stages we are going to create Docker container. Okay, later on. So we'll go over here and we will try to create one Docker file. Okay, so if you check over here, that you need to know how to write a one Docker file, right? So what are the steps required in order to write one Docker file? This we are going to cover up. Okay, don't worry about that. So if you come to my account over here, I have a complete playlist of Docker zero to hero, where you can check it over there and you can have a hands-on on the knowledge how the Docker in the real time works, and you can get experience of this, how to write your Docker file from the scratch. Let's start writing our Docker file over here, right? So the first keyword which we are need to pass it from the from, right? From start where which base image you are going to take for your application. As we are going with Java based application and we need to deploy our war file into the web server, that is Tomcat web servers. For that use case, we require Tomcat base image. Okay, so Tomcat's required base image. Tomcat is required Java dependency, right? So that's the use case. I'm going to write Java JRE version as well. So it's consisted of JRE, and for the use case, I can get right JRE 8 version, right? So we will test this one. If I face any issue, then we will update the latest version in the next steps. Okay. So after that, I'm going to expose is a new keyword. With it expose, we are going to define that on which port number our application will be working on. As I mentioned that it will be exposed on 8080, but in our case, our 808 port is already consumed. Okay. So next keyword is copy, where I'm going to copy my artifacts, that in the sense war file, right, to my directory. Okay. So let's go into the Linux and we will see the path as well. So I will give the overview where currently in our EC2 instance, from EC2 instance from where I'm going to copy in the Docker container. Okay. So if you check over here, you're able to find I'm inside where workspace Java Maven project, and the target is a directory folder. Within the target folder, I have Maven Cloud Asim app.war. Okay. You can second with me with these claims. Okay. Right. So in this case, what I need to do it, I need to pass the path of this up to the workspace already is content, right? Java Maven project. To this already the pipeline knows this path. So just what I need to do it, I need to specify targets and my var file. Okay, so it's going to be slash target mavencloudasim.com. So let me review as well. So let's go one more back of this directory. Okay, cd double dot in order to go one previous directory. Okay, so these are the Linux command which you will have hands on this. Okay, so after that, if I'm going to cat this I'm going to use the path, right? Target and Maven Cloud Asim dot app dot war. Okay, that's fine. So from here, I'm going to copy this path and I'm going to paste this path exactly where my war file is there inside the Docker container. Okay, so I'm going to copy this file inside the Docker container. So I'm going to specify this copy command and I'm going to mention in my Docker file. Okay, so target slash Maven Cloud Asim app dot war. Then later on, where I'm going to copy in the user, let me just give it usr forward slash, then afterwards a local, then forward slash Tomcat, then I'm going to give it as web app, okay, web apps. So in the web apps, I'm going to copy. This is a directory where you need to copy your app.war in order to run on your Tomcat server. Okay, so that you're going to access after deploying your application over there. Okay, so this is done. Do you have any issues? Then you can do one more time over here. Just we I'm copying my var build that is artifacts right of my application into Tomcat path, which is defined as user local Tomcat web apps. Right there, I'm going to copy inside the container. Which container we are creating? We are creating Tomcat container and we are expecting our application in 8080 port, right? Now I'm going to copy my Docker file and I'm going to paste into my GitHub repository, right? So in my GitHub repository already contain my Docker file. I will give the overview to you, right? And I want to update that Docker file as well. Okay. So just I'm going to delete this and I'm going to uh, write my new Docker file over here, right? So let me just commit this and paste it and commit the changes over this, right? So in the later stage, if you check over here in the last, I have one given as committed. So here, in case of giving any file, I'm giving passing wildcard, stating that whichever file is ending with .var, just that copy that need to be copied into the path of Docker container Tomcat. Okay, Tomcat. So simply, you can use wildcard or you can give any name. Okay, so that's fine. Though I will commit the changes, then I will say commit changes over here. Update Docker file, the changes are done. Okay, so the prerequisite of our creating the Docker, writing the Docker file is completed. Now the steps also we have already written, like tagging the Docker image and pushing the Docker image to a Docker Hub registry. Okay, so that's fine. So what we will do it now, just take this one more stage and we will pass one more stage in order to deploy our application into Docker container. Okay, so just I'm going to copy the stage over here. Then let me go to here below this flower bucket. I'm going to paste one more stage over here. Here I'm going to write multiple steps, right? That contains to deploy our application as a Docker container. Here I'm going to port map my Docker container with the existing 8080 to 9000. This I will show you now. Just I'm going to define Docker container of application as a stage name. Then I need to pass one command over here sh in the single quotes. I'm going to define that Docker, and the command is docker run, then hyphen d detach mode, and on the port mapping I'm doing with the EC2 instance 9000 port number, and the container on which our application is running is on Tomcat. By default number is 8080 port number. This port already have enabled, so the name I'm giving for the container is let's give it as Java Maven app. From above we will copy and then later on we will give it as Java Maven app container. Okay, so let's copy this Java Maven app. paste it over here. Then afterwards, I need to give the image tag as well, that from which image I'm going to use, right? So simply I'm giving underscore container name, that the container to be Java Maven app container. Okay. Then afterwards, with the I'm saying that okay, the image which I'm using, the image name is Asim Akram 19 Java Maven app latest, which is exist in my repository, that is Docker of repository, right? So I have pushed this image already into my Docker up registry. So I'm going to paste the same Docker image name over here. That's fine. Then I'm going to close this command with single quote. Okay, it will turn into green now, stating that this is a shell command now. Okay, so this stage has been added now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have completed before this stage I'm creating. Now I'm going to deploy in this stage. Okay, so after that, what I need to do, just ये चुप तो भी okay. I'm going to apply and save it. Okay. So now what we will do it, we will build this pipeline and we'll check out is there any error in this pipeline. If it is occurred, then we will troubleshoot and we'll try to fix that. Okay, without we'll try to fix that in order to make our application up and running. Okay. We'll wait for a few seconds. So the stages has been passed, git clone is passed, maven war build is going on. So it will create .wire file of our application. It has failed in Docker image, push to Docker up. So what we will do it now, we will just we will review everything that why this stage has been failed. So two stages has been failed. First stage of creation of Docker image from the Docker file. Okay. So let's click on this two, then go to the console output and we will review this what caused this pipeline to be failure. Okay, so if you check in this one, it started to creating one docker file, right? Docker file with the name, and in this stage it's saying that pulling from library Tomcat 8.0 it's failed. It's saying that is there is no supported format. So what we need to do it, we need to update the Tomcat version. Okay, so what I'm going to do it, I'm going to update the version from Tomcat 8 to 9. The reason is that Tomcat 8 has been depreciated. Okay, don't worry, you will going to receive in my GitHub repository the latest later version of Dockerfile. Okay, so I'm updating that. You don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to copy this, then I'll go to my GitHub repository, then I will update my Docker file. I'll click on this edit, then I will update the first from. In the from I'm going to update with the Tomcat version of 9. Okay, so then I'm going to commit the changes and I'm going to save it. Okay, okay, so what happened, the changes Docker file has been updated. Now we will rebuild this pipeline one more time. The build number will be 3. Okay, and we will do that in order the Docker file will create. Our pipeline is successful, right? So first step, what we will do it, we will go to the pipeline and we will review the pipeline over here. The status is stating that our pipeline has been successful. Our Docker image has been created, right? Docker image has been created. The steps has been added over here, right? Pulling the layer from this Tomcat base image has been fetched. And if you check down, you will to find that all the steps as we specified in Docker image, right? The Docker tag, Docker push to our account latest has been successfully done, right? So if you check over it, the stage is done. Then afterward, create a one container out of our Docker image, which is running on 9000 port number. Okay, the name of the container, as I mentioned, that it is Java Maven app container. Okay, so this point is done. Then afterwards, what happened? Then you will to find. Now what we will do, first thing, we'll switch back over here and we will clear the screen. And first we will check out the Docker images. You're able to find Docker images. You're able to find Docker images has been done successfully, right? So one image that is one starting image is created. Then afterward, Tomcat base image has been fetched from GitHub. Then afterwards, it has tagged with the name of this. So if I want to cross check over Docker PS running container, you're able to find one container is up and running, right? With the name of Java Maven app container. Now this as per EC2 instance that had been verified. Now let me go to my Docker Hub account, and let me verify you cross check over this as well. You're able to find that one image has been pushed to Docker Hub with the name of Java Maven app. Okay, so this has been pushed to our Docker Hub. So this image, if I check over here, you're able to find that this has been tagged with the latest and everything is successful. Okay, so now how do we access our application now, right? As we mentioned that our application has been deployed with 9000 port number. This port number we already enabled in EC2 instance security group, right? If you check over here, you're able to find 9000 port number is enabled. So what I'm going to do it now, simply I'm going to copy my IP address, then I'm going to go over here, then I'm going to paste it, then I'm going to give it 9000. This is a container. Then I'm going to give it Maven Cloud Asim app. Okay, this, if I check over here, you're able to find that one application is accessible. Okay, this path you can define from your POM XML file. If you check over here, it's stating as Maven Cloud Asim app. Even if you check our Docker image, what we have created, in this we have created in where the target and what was the var file name. Let me show you the var file name as well. So if I LL over here, you're able to find Maven project, workspace, Maven project, right? Maven projects was done, CD back and LL over here, LL, right? CD Java Maven project and LL over here. You're able to find in the target. Let me go to the target. You're able to find now with the name of Maven Cloud Asim app. So I need to copy this path and I need to pass with our URL. Okay. So Maven Cloud Asim app. Okay. If we cross check, you will find Maven Cloud Asim app, both are same. Okay, so with this I can access my application. If you check over here, you will to find that I have a one link. If I'm going to click on this YouTube channel, I'll be redirecting to my YouTube channel. Okay, that is fetched through my Java application. It's giving some content, that is fine. So as per our architectural drawing, we did everything like integration of Maven to create .var artifacts and deploying to Tomcat, Dockerized containerization, pushing to Docker hub and creating Docker image and Docker container. Everything has been done, but we have not added continuous integration part and continuous deployment part. To achieve this, what we need to do that we need to go to our repository, then we need to go for this repository, then we need to go for settings, then we need to go for webhook. So what we will do it, we will add one webhook for this repository. And authentication, I need to give it just a second because I have 2MFA applied on my account. Okay, so here I need to give the URL of my Jenkins. So I'm going to copy over here, copy, and go to GitHub repository, paste it over here. Then afterwards, git GitHub Webhook. Just you need to pass your webhooks and the URL of our application, which is running over there. Then the Jenkins URL, it is running on IP and 8080 port. Then afterwards GitHub and webhook. And then I need to, and here I need to go with JSON format, application JSON, right? And secret, I no need to add anything. So everything is over here, right? Then I'm going to add the webhook. So it will send whatever we have done and the payloads will be forwarded to our Jenkins server. Okay. So let me go and cross check the recent delivery. So recent delivery is success, right? It's stating the tick mark. So now what we will do it, we will go back to our Jenkins pipeline, right? I will go to my Jenkins pipeline over here, to Jenkins pipeline. Then I will enable what post s git source code pooling. Okay, GitHub Webhook trigger. With this trigger, whenever there is a changes in repository, that will be triggered, and automatically the Jenkins, whenever there is a changes in the code, that automatically will trigger our Jenkins pipeline, and all the stages which are mentioned in the Jenkins pipeline, that will be executed, right? So now the point is that our container is up and running. So what we need to do it, we need to stop this container and delete this container in order to create new container, right? For that use case, we need to add one more stage over here. Okay, so let me copy this and I will add one more stage. This is the last stage which we will be adding. Okay, so here I'm going to say Docker images container remove. Okay, so instead of script, I will remove this part. I no need to define this. Okay, then one more flower bracket I need to remove it because I have deleted this part. Okay, that's fine. So sh I'm going to say Docker build Docker. Just a second. The name of the container which I have created was Docker container, right? The same name. So for that, I'm going to add first state Docker stop, then container name. Then afterwards, I'm going to add Docker RM container name, then Docker RMI, right? RMI, this with the latest build, right? So let me delete this as well. Latest. Okay, so what I'm going to do it now, as I mentioned that my container is up and running, right? In this case, what I need to do it, I need to pass some commands over here in order to, before creation of Docker image. Okay, so after the war file is created, what I'm going to do it, I'm going to first stop my Docker container, which is up and running over here, right? I can use Docker container, which is up and running. Then afterwards, I'm going to remove the Docker container. Then afterwards, I'm going to remove the image as well, which is available. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to save this one. Okay, I need to pause in the script, right? So I think I have missed out that giving this as well. So steps, after steps, I need to pass this into script. Then I need to give it here one more flower bracket. So what happened? We have fixed this one. Just added one script over here, and able to find this. This has been fixed now. So simply we check over here. I added a new stage with the command that I'm going to stop this running container. Then I'm going to remove this running container. Then I'm going to remove the image as well in order to create new images. Okay. So let me just apply and save it. Now what we will do it, as I mentioned that, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to check the functionality of continuous deployment, right? With that flow, what I'm going to do it, I'm going to go over to my GitHub repository. Then I'm going to go over here. Then for small example, what I'm going to do it, let me go to source. Okay, let me go to index dot here, and if you check over here, right, in my application is saying cloud Aseem YouTube channel, right, your destination for cloud DevOps training. So I'm going to add AI as well. Okay, so for that use case, simply I'm going to go over here, cloud AI, sorry, I need to click on this edit AI, AI, right, I'm going to commit. As I'm commit this, whatever the changes has been done, that will be transferred to the Jenkins as in the payload. Okay, so if I'm going to go over here, you're able to find that new pipeline has been triggered. See, you're going to find that this has been triggered because I have changes some commit. I have done some commits in my repository. Okay. So whenever the code is pushed, you can add that as in order to apply the changes and deploy continuous. Okay. So we are handling continuous integration part. We are handling continuous integration and continuous deployment onto the server, right? On Tomcat server. So let us check this one. It is stating that the Docker container running is successful, right? So if I'm able to check over the pipeline status, so pipeline fourth is successfully built. If I want to go and refresh, I should be able to see the reflected changes now. So see, you're able to find that AI is done. Okay. So please note that when you're doing this changes, you make sure that you have the access of master branch. Okay, that means is associated with me. If you're forking also, you cannot do some commits. So what you can do it, you can, instead of this, you can just add one more file and you can test that. Okay, so that also I will show you. So what you can do it, simply Maven. So here what I'll do it, I will add one file, create new file. So I will name it as new.txt, new.txt. Here testing. Okay, testing and commit here. Okay, so as I'm going to commit this my pipeline will trigger one more time. You're able to find over here, right? See, it has triggered before 4.8 minutes. So the changes, whatever the changes you are doing in the repository, that will be reflected and will be deployed into Jenkins server, right? So the last step what we required, we need to add the stage of post build action, right? What I need to do it, I need to go into the settings, right? Where I need to go to manage Jenkins, right? Manage your Google account. Then afterwards, we will be redirected to this security aspect, right? So I'm going to click on this security aspect. So here what you need to do is that if you're setting for the first time, in that case, what you need to do, you need to apply two multi-factor authentication, right? So it will prompt you to set up that. So here you're going to search for app password. Okay, so there'll be drop down over here in the security app password. You need to click on this. If you're failing to come to this point, that means you have not enabled multi-factor authentication or your email address. So what you need to do, you need to add your mobile number to authenticate as a multi-factor, or this is a prerequisite of Gmail. So here what we are going to do it, we are going to give it as one name just to remember for series. Okay, so I'm going to click on this create. As I'm going to create this token, I'm going to copy because it will not be visible the next time. So I'm going to go for my document, then I'm going to paste then in my working file. Okay, so that's fine. The prerequisite of creating the token for Gmail account is completed. So you're able to find that that is disappeared. Okay, if you miss, then you need to delete this and create one more time. Okay, no need to worry. So the prerequisite of Gmail account is done. So now what we will do it, we will go back over here, right? And we will go to manage Jenkins in order to check that does our plugin of email extension is available or not, right? So in the plugins, I will go into the plugins. Then in the available plugins, before that, let's cross check that it is installed or no, because in most of the situation it is pre-installed. Okay, so you're able to find that one email extension plugin is already installed on our Jenkins server. Okay, so we don't need to install not. If any case you don't find this plugin available in your install plugin, then you need to come over here and search the same plugin and you can install and restart your Jenkins server. Okay, I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to go for my pipeline. For the pipeline, I'm going to go for configured over here. Then in the below stage, I need to go below this. I need to paste it. Okay, so it should be new. It is a separate it's not coming in the stages, it will be outside of the stages. That means after the pipeline, it will come in the same line of agent any, right? So if you check over here, you will to find that agent any, where I'm going to say that whenever the build is done, so I should receive the update. Okay. So Jenkins project, I will add it. Maven, Maven project. Okay. So I'm going to apply and I'm going to save. Okay. So apply this one, what we need to do it, we need to go and add few credentials. Okay. So I'm going to go for manage Jenkins. In the manage Jenkins, I'm going to go for systems. In the system down, I need to search for here, right? I need to search here SMTP. I need to give it as .gmail. Okay. So I will copy over here, right? Copy this and I'm going to paste it over here, right? SMTP power is I'm converting my Gmail account into SMTP server, right? Then afterwards, I need to give it surfx at gmail.com. I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to paste this as well. Okay. Then afterward, in the advanced, is asking me which authentication I'm going to say my using email address. So I'm going to say Asim Akram 19 at gmail.com, right? The email address is Muhammad Asim Akram, and the password I need to give the passkey which I have generated in the last session. Okay. So for that use case, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. Okay. So that is done, and I'm going to go with TLS. Then afterwards, I'm going to go with 587. Okay. The port number I'm saying 587, and the email address, this port number already I have enabled on this EC2 instance. Okay. So the same I'm going to give it replay, and I want to test my configurations. Okay. That means whatever the credentials I have given, is it valid or not, right? So test these configurations. Oh, sorry, I have given wrong over here, right? So let me just save it, apply, and let me test the configurations now. So email was sent successfully, right? So this is fine. Then I need to go and enable one more setting, that is post email extended. Okay. Here I need to give the same way. I need to give it .smtp .gmail. Then I'll be giving over here in the SMTP server. I need to give it 465, right? So I'll be giving the port number 465. Then in the advanced, I need to give the credentials. So in this case, you need to add the credentials in here, right? So what I need to do, I need to go over here into the Jenkins vault, right? And here I need to give it username, password. So username, you know very well. Sorry, username. Let me just give it. This is a username of my email address. Password, I have created one passkey, right? So you can watch the previous video and you can set up your passkeys. Okay. This is a passkey, and here I'm going to give it SMTP Gmail. Just test out, and I'm going to click on the add. Okay. So in the drop down, it will be listed. I'm going to give it this one as, and then later on, I'm going to go with TLS part, right? 465 for TLS. Okay. So I'm going to go with TLS. Remaining, I will keep it everything. So the credentials I have added. Now I have updated the pipeline as well, where I have defined. Now let me try this using Webhook. Okay. So let me create one more file, add file. Then I will write it as test email test, right? .txt, simple dummy test. So what happened? I have added the email notifications, right? So let me this. So this will trigger my pipeline and the stage last post build action what I've added. that will be triggered. Okay, so this has been triggered. I let me go wait for the email to be sent, right? If you check here, resources spike has been done. Okay, well, if you check it over here, stating that our finished site email has been sent to Asimakram 19, right? So this is how we have tested all the flows. If you check over here, it's stating that we have integrated Java, Maven, Jenkins, and deployed into Tomcat server, right? If I'm going to cross-check my application over here, you're able to find latest code has been deployed. Okay, so this one you can practice in the terms of continuous integration and continuous deployment. Okay, team, you don't forget to share, subscribe with your friends. Okay, if you find this video helpful, please do share on the LinkedIn and help me grow as well. Okay, thank you. See you for the next episode.